Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today we're going to be doing another fun "You do not need that" video. As always with these videos, quick disclaimer, there is no judgment here. This is a safe space, okay? If you want to buy everything in this video and these are all products that you really excited about and you are really wanting to buy and really excited to do so, and there's absolutely nothing stopping you, there is no problem with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not here to say there's anything wrong with buying makeup that makes you happy and gives you joy. The purpose of this video is solely for those of you who don't want to buy more makeup, who have too much or are spending too much, and you're trying to stay away from the FOMO and you need talking out of buying makeup, more makeup that you don't need or that you don't want to spend your money on, or that you're trying to save or do a no buy. This video is strictly for those people who are trying to stop from spending money on these products in this video. So without further ado, let's get started. So first up, the Pat McGrath Blush Trios. Now these are tough. I get it. As a blush lover, I get it. These are Pat McGrath blushes, 3 of them or 2 of them and a highlight. They're very pretty. They've got the gorgeous embossing, the beautiful little palette. Oh, very beautiful, very easy to get sucked in. I get it. I hear you. But here's the thing. Everything Pat McGrath does these days ends up vastly reduced at some point in the future. And you know what's coming up, don't you? You know what's coming up. Christmas time. These to me are such a great gift. Put them on your Christmas list. Someone else should be buying these for you. You've been good this year, okay? You don't need to buy these yourself, certainly not at full price. Here's your options. These will be reduced at some point, I'm sure of it. Most of us bought a lot of blushes when the blush came out. We bought all the shades. Most of us who are going to go nuts for Pat McGrath blushes have bought blushes, and therefore I don't think these, I mean, don't quote me on it, but I don't think these are going to sell out anytime soon. I think they'll be reduced vastly at some point soon-ish. Maybe not the next sale, because she doesn't generally put her last launch on sale, but maybe the one after that. And if not, put it on your Christmas wish list. This is a very giftable product, okay? You definitely don't need to buy it yourself, and definitely not at full price. Next up, oh, this is tough. I really tried to push myself today with these products. These are not products that we wanted to skip anyway. These are toughies, okay? So next up, we've got this Chantecaille Pearl Lumiere Highlight. This is one that I fully intended to purchase when I first saw it. This compact, I get it again. It's sucking us in, those pearls. Oh, glorious, gorgeous. Yes, the embossing is stunning, gorgeous. But as I always say with these products, get your goggles out, your hand goggles, and look solely at the product. Watch reviews, look at swatches, because yes, it's a very beautiful ornament. However, this is something like 70, 80 more pounds. It's like $100, is it? I mean, it's expensive, okay? Put it this way. If you want this for ornamental purposes, here's my tip to you. You can buy a very nice, beautiful ornament for this same amount of money that isn't at some point going to go moldy, okay? That's my tip to you. And sure, you could take out the product and just have it as a beautiful compact. But again, I feel like you could probably get a much nicer compact for a lot less money if you're not going to actually use the product, if you're going to be too scared to lose the embossing or to take away from the product. I feel like you can buy a really expensive, lovely ornament if that's what you're wanting. If you actually want this for the product, then I suggest you look at the swatches, because I don't think this is one that I'm going to use. For me, this looks very light and a little chunky. I'm sorry about it. I think this will work nicely if you're very fair, if you have a lighter skin tone. For me, this isn't going to work. This is going to leave a cast. It's going to be too light. It's going to look like I've literally put chalk on my cheeks. So it was a very easy, once I saw swatches, oh, this is not going to work out for me. I can pass on it. But I don't think the actual product itself is as wow as the packaging. So I would suggest getting your goggles out and thinking, what do I want this for? Do I want a stunning, gorgeous highlight? Or do I just love those pearl packaging? In which case I probably could buy a gorgeous ornament or some kind of stunning compact that, like I said, isn't going to go mouldy in a couple of years because makeup expires. Next up, these Hourglass holiday palettes. So they came out with two this year. One was slightly deeper. Well, I'd say the blushes in one was slightly deeper. Everything else was pretty much as per previous years. If you have never purchased one of these Hourglass palettes, or if you've purchased one and you've panned everything in it, those for me are the only people who in any way, shape or form would need to buy any of these. If you have bought one every single year and you now have 6 and you haven't hit pan on the first one you purchased, what are we doing? What are we talking about? Come on. Come on. I'll smack it out your hand, all right? Again, if you just love these and you want to have them all and you enjoy using them, there's nothing wrong with that. But please, I beg of you, wait for sale. We've already seen these £20 off. These are going to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper like they did last year. Don't pay full price. For goodness sake, at least my advice to you is getting at least 25% off on these. Do not pay full price. Always wait for sale. These always end up vastly reduced come January. And if you've got 3 or 4 of them, you know the answer. You know you don't need another one. They all look exactly the same essentially once everything's on the face. These are very not different to the previous years, okay? That's what I'm saying to you. If you need me to come and smack it out your hand, I'm your girl. Next up, this Dior Holiday Blush. This one nearly got me. Okay, this one nearly suckered me in. I saw the embossing, I saw the picture, I saw the description of the colour, and I was thinking, oh yes. And then I Googled it because I had a suspicion. I'd heard this name before. Hologlam is the name of the shade of this blush, okay? And this is an existing shade. It's not new. It's just a different embossing than it usually has. So here's the thing. If you already own this, don't be fooled. This is already an existing shade from Dior. It's just got a slightly different pattern on the top, which is not going to fool us. Next up, when I Googled this shade, I saw the swatches and was immediately taking it straight back out of my basket. This is not going to work on anybody deeper than a light skin tone. And even then, what it's going to be is a glittery slight hint of pink. I would very strongly suggest you go and check out my friend Tavia at Chic Profile Official on Instagram, sorry. And she has swatches and she shows it on her sheet. Now, Tavia is much more accepting of glitter, my number one. She's also a huge pink fan. She loves everything pink. She's a pink girl, okay? And she was even like, this isn't really what I was expecting. It's just very light. There's hardly any colour to it and it's just glittery. So if that's exactly what you were thinking and hoping this was going to be, fantastic. But if it's not, take it out your basket. Next up, this Nars blush palette. Ooh, now you know how I feel about these. I hear you. These are very hard to resist. If you're a blush girl like me, these Nars palettes are literally the peak. They are the absolute holy grail as far as blush and palettes and just delights to look at. The packaging of these always gets me right in the feels. They're glorious. And of course, they're there to suck you in. Again, is there somebody else who could buy you this for Christmas? Have you tried asking your mum? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it on my Christmas list and see if anyone else wants to buy it for me at sale price. Definitely, again, one that will be reduced or on offer. You can get at least 15-20% off at some point. That's number one. Number two, have you been good enough to put this on your Christmas list? Done any good deeds for anybody lately that might mean they're feeling extra generous at Christmas presy time? But being realistic here, okay, if you've bought 2 or more of these blush palettes from Nars in the last year or so, who's Sue? In the last year or so, easy for me to say. You know the answer. You know you shouldn't be buying it, don't you? You haven't panned those other ones, have you? And yes, there might be slightly different, the packaging's slightly different, but it's a palette from Nars full of different shades of blush and highlight. And how many of those exactly do you need? Yes, I'm talking to you. How many do you need? How much have you used the last 3 that you bought? Are you going to use all the shades in here? Or are you only drawn to one in particular? In which case, why aren't you just buying a single? Or do you actually already have one exactly like it? Don't make me come down there. Next up, this mini Metropolis palette from Natasha Denona. Now, this is very nice, very pretty, 5-pan. I will just say, if you already own Metropolis, you definitely do not need this one. I'd say also if you own Natasha Denona's gold palette, you definitely do not need this. I'd say even the mini gold is pretty much doing the same job as this one. This is a very easy pass for, I'd say, 99.9% of us, and we all know it too. Next up, we have this Patrick Tar blush palette. It's all about the blush palettes, as you can tell. This is how they've already started to clock us. They know what we like. They know how to trick us, to reel us in. It's blush palettes, okay? They're our weakness for lots of us. They're our weakness. They're very pretty and shiny in the nice packaging, and it's very hard to resist. However, when I first saw this palette from Patrick Tar, I thought what he'd done is put 3 of his cream and powder blush duos in a palette for like holiday. That's what I thought this was. But actually these are new shades, but they look very, very similar to his existing shades. Again, I'll ask you, are you going to use both the cream and the powders out of here? Because if you're only going to use the powders, this is not worth it. And if you have all his blushes already, I think you already have all these colours in his formula. So for me, again, it's an easy pass. If you have a lot from Patrick Tar, if you have a couple of his blushes already, you've pretty much got these colours covered. Once they're on the cheeks, how different are these going to look? I don't think they're going to look that much different because I thought they were the exact same ones. And second of all, if you're not a cream girl, are you going to use the creams? And if you're not a powder girl, are you going to use the powders? That's what I'm saying to you. Are you going to get the use out of this? Because this is going to get mucky. If you're using the creams, this is going to get mucky. It's going to get filthy. Because this has creams in it, so it's not one that you want to sit around for forever in your drawer, putting sponges and brushes or even fingers in and out of those creams. It's going to definitely expire in the next year or so. So I would say if you're not going to get a huge amount of use out of it, I would pass on this one because you'd probably be better off getting one of his duos with just one of each colour. Next up, this highlight from Hermes. This definitely got me right in the heartstrings. This embossing is glorious. It's very beautiful, gorgeous, calling our name. Be mindful. So far from Hermes, we've seen very average performance actually from their products. We've seen what looks like very stunning, beautiful packaging, but then be pretty average product inside. And actually the blush packaging was very disappointing for most of us. It's very light, flimsy, doesn't feel very luxurious. And to me, this being priced at £75, $89, when we know it's probably, I'm almost certain it's the exact same packaging, very light, doesn't feel very luxurious. I don't think it's worth the money just for that embossing. If you took the embossing away, it's going to be a pretty light gold champagne-y highlight. And how many of those, honestly, do you have in your drawer already? Don't make me look in there because I'll do it. Okay, so there you have it. Those are all of the products that I have to talk you out of purchasing today. Save your money is the motto of this video. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye.